Hey beauties, good evening to you. So I saw a video of quite a number of schoolgirls fighting. Quite a number of, at a very known high school. It's a known high school and I'm chuckling, but it's not, as Jamaicans say, you're laughing, but it is not a good laugh. It is certainly not a good laugh. I'm chuckling because when I'm dealing with children or adolescents, I have to be very careful in how I speak and have to remind myself that we're not talking about adults. Even though sometimes, based on their behavior, you wonder if you should actually deal with them like adults. One of the things I've often despised is, when you have gangs as bullies, like quite a number of women on one woman. So you saw like a set of women fighting over there and a set of women fighting over another section. It seemed that way based on the video that I saw. And then it focused on one section after a while. And you had one young girl trying to get away, but girls throwing her here, throwing her there, to the point where her hand, it seemed as if, I don't know if it is broken, but you can see the cut marks and the weakness of this hand, the way how she held her hand. I don't know if she held her hand like it is broken because of the cut marks that are on it, because I can see that her hand is bleeding from different sections because of the beating and the thrusting and the shoving and the pushing and throwing her on the ground and just a fling her all over the place sort of a thing. And when they see that they were all coming, there's a point where they all came down on her and started to beat on her. Then a guy came, a young schoolboy came and tried and pulled them off and got her up. And you see, like a friend of hers coming to her aid and so on. At a high school, a known high school. And when people say to you that, bring back prayer in the schools, bring back, it's what you call that punishment again when you beat. Is corporal, you call it? Me no want mix them. No, capital is when you like hang them. Corporal is like the beating and all of that. Well, this is high school, so you probably wouldn't have like beating, like flogging on the butt. I always say that's the best place to beat because you don't abuse the people there, although you wouldn't beat everlastingly long, you know. But you have ways of disciplining children in and preventing something like this from happening again. I mean, mind you, in my days they used to fight and so forth, but when you do the little fighting, not a scar, not even a cocoa, no swelling. No swelling. We better fight neat. We better fight neat, so to speak. And they had to be far and few. Far and few. There is no way. The scene that I saw, it could have happened in my merciful Father. The Bible says he makes the generational curse fall on the third and fourth generation of the previous generations that were rebellious against God. Remember the two young women, remember the Kaylan situation? And remember the other 14-year-old girl? I guarantee you, if you check the parents of these women who were beating on that schoolgirl in their school uniform, many of them have parents similar to those women who had beaten the 14-year-old and Kaylan to a frazzle, basically to death. Even though they're physically alive, they took their lives away from them, basically. And the children are just replica of their own environment, of the parents that they come from. Beat the girl to a point, I don't know, based on how she was holding her hand. I don't know if it's because the upper hand was bleeding or her hand was actually broken, because they threw her here, they threw her there. And then you're going to tell me that they're talking about what are the ways to reduce violence in schools. Jamaicans back in the day used to say, ever see me die in trial, yeah? You ever see me die in trial? Because no one is held accountable. No one is held accountable. A whole heap of people involved in a obia, necromancy, guzum and all kind of things. So what do you think is going to happen? A Satan a rule. He's the prince of the power of this air, and trust me, he's ruling and reigning in many of these schools. He's just laughing. But the feels of the other people them who are the onlookers, because and they can't do anything, that they're the victims in a sense, in the sense that they are victimized. They're victimized, yes, but don't feel like they're going to be the ones sinking in the long run. Don't feel like they're the ones who are going to be sinking in the long run. It is your children. Are your children the generational curse follow? Because you're not decide that you're not going to remain rebellious. Like the parents who beat upon those and I'm sure they're parents, I'd be surprised if they're not. Those 4 or 5 women who beat upon Kaylin to the point of taking her basically through death's door. Although she never fully go over. She tasted it. She's alive, but she tasted going through death's door in a sense. Even though her body's alive. But her soul probably so broken. And now the 14-year-old girl who is battling for her life, still not here altogether, although she's physically alive. And beaten by predominantly adult women. In the grand scheme of things, between the 2 young girls who were beaten up. So these children you think they're not displaying certain things? What they see at their homes? And they're going to talk about what are the ways in reducing violence in schools? When I hear these questions, when I hear such a question asked, it irritates every fiber inside of me. It irritates every fiber inside of me. Like you take the rest of Jamaicans as idiots, as nincompoops, as fools, as stupid people, as monkeys, as orangutans. May God help us. I pray that God covers the decent students and administration. I deliberately, for my posts, I try not to call the name of the schools, whether it's primary school, prep school, high school, or whatnot, because I'm sure they're embarrassed in and of itself and they're tired and frustrated, but they just have to do what they have to do because they have to earn a living. What else are they going to do? What else are they going to do? You don't think some of them try? When I talk about when I take prayers at school because they want to give people freedom of choice of religion and so forth. Back in my day, let me tell you something. If you never ever supported Christianity, you just sit down or you just come and you don't have to pray if you don't want. You don't have to do this. Tell them I'm not. I remember there was a girl, she was Jehovah's Witness. And she said I don't remember what she said, but I know she said something about they don't pray like that just arbitrarily or whatever it is. And she just came and because she had to follow the rules, she just sat in the mass, sat in the whatever it is, because I had gone to a Catholic school. I don't follow Catholicism really. But I mean, we all had to participate. If you never wanted to say the rosary, what do you call it again? The Hail Mary thingy or whatever. My name is a rosemary, like the plant. The rosary thingy, what they have. Then you just don't say it, but you sit down and the thing and keep yourself quiet. You never had to participate. In the sense of participating, saying the prayer, saying this, saying that, you just stay quiet. But you had to call. Once you had to be at school early and you had to sit down in there. So whether they liked it, yes or no, you just sit down in there. Then when it done, you go about your business. Because you have to teach people conformity. Conformity is necessary. Once it's not something that is illegal or let us say immoral. Although some people have morality seems to be, subjective to some people these days. But we want to say predominantly once it is not illegal. Once it is not illegal and unjust or whatever it is. You sit down at night. When it done, you move. When it done, you move. You don't have to participate. There were people like that. Simple. But many of our foundation and laws are founded under the solid Christian beliefs and principles that had they been followed the right and proper way, let me tell you, crime, violence, all sort of atrocities and evil would be minuscule. Now I'll tell you, say it, I go eradicate because there is a devil lurking whom he may kill, steal and devour. Stay there, come ask, what are the ways in reducing or getting rid of violence in schools? Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this message, please.